Welcome to the Marvel S330 installation video. This video is designed to instruct new saw owners on safely and effectively setting up their new S330. First, inspect the saw for damage, and note any damages on the bill of lading. Then, uncrate the saw, and re-inspect for damage. Next, check to ensure all standard parts are included. Use the supplied lifting eyes to lift the saw from the shipping skid. Lifting equipment must be capable of lifting 1,600 pounds. Adjust the leveling screws so they protrude equally, about ½ inch to 1 inch from the bottom of the legs, and set the saw in place. Drill the anchor holes in the floor using the base of the saw as your location template, and drive the anchors into the floor. Use a rag and solvent to wipe any rust inhibitor from the saw table. Machine leveling is critical to cutting accuracy. Level the saw side to side and front to back using a machinist level on the saw table. Use a 19mm wrench on the leveling screws and make small adjustments of 1/2 to 1 turn on each leg to bring the saw into level. Once leveling is complete, tighten the anchors and recheck leveling. Have a qualified electrician attach incoming power to the saw. Verify that the supply voltage matches the voltage shown on the cabinet door tags. Attach the 3 incoming power leads and ground wire to the terminals marked L1, L2, and L3, and ground the terminal strip in the electrical panel. Your saw should come filled with hydraulic oil. Although, we recommend that the saw is filled with hydraulic fluid by viewing through the sight glass on the tank. Fill with approximately 5.5 gallons of mobile DTE24 or equivalent hydraulic oil. Turn on electrical power and check phasing by checking for hydraulic pressure on the pump pressure gauge, or by inspecting the coolant pump for proper rotation, as indicated by the arrow on the motor, and view on the window on the top of the motor. Have your electrician change phase to reverse the pump rotation if needed. Turn off the disconnect and lock out power per your procedures until machine setup is finished. If you plan to use the fluid coolant system, mix the coolant per your coolant manufacturer's suggestions, and pour in approximately 13 gallons of coolant into the coolant pan. Open the left and right band wheel covers and insert prop rods. Put on all necessary personal protection equipment. Uncoil a new saw blade and verify that the teeth in your left hand are pointed towards you and pointed down. Grab the blade with 2 hands near the center and guide the open loops over each wheel into the top blade cover and under each guide arm. Slide the blade onto each wheel until the back edge of the blade is against the flange. Turn the blade tension handle clockwise to take the initial slack out of the blade, tightening just enough that the blade body comes in contact with the bolt heads of the blade guides. Use 2 hands to grab the blade and twist it 90 degrees to start it into the left bearings, carbide guides. Push the blade fully into the guides, making sure that the blade is still in place on the left and right band wheels. It may be necessary to lightly tighten the blade to keep the blade in place on the wheels as you slide the blade into the blade guide bearings. The blade tension indicator screw is calibrated at the factory to achieve proper tension when fully tightened to the scribe mark. When the blade is tightened properly, it actuates a blade brake safety switch. The switch is set so the machine will shut down if the blade would break, or if the blade is not fully tensioned. Close the left and right band wheel covers, making sure to latch them closed. Both doors are equipped with interlock switches to prevent saw operation if the covers are open. Remove the lockout device and turn on the disconnect to apply power to the saw. Twist the red mushroom button, which will release it, and allow it to pop up. Press the green illuminated hydraulic start button. Set the blade speed to its slowest speed. Or if you have an S330/2, set the speed shown on the digital display to its lowest setting using the down adjustment key. Now press the blade start push button, which will cause the blade to start running, and allow it to run for 30 to 60 seconds. Push in the red all stop button. Open the band wheel cover and inspect the blade tracking. The blade should be riding within approximately 1/32nd to 1/16th of an inch of the flange on the back of the band wheel, but not rubbing on the flange. Use the tracking adjustment set screws and bolt on the left side of the adjuster to correct the blade tracking. If the blade is too far away from the flange, loosen the 2 set screws on the left side of the adjuster about 1/2 turn and tighten the socket head cap screw. If the blade is too close to the flange, loosen the socket head cap screw on the left side of the adjuster about 1/2 turn and tighten the 2 set screws. Twist the red mushroom button, which will release it and allow it to pop up. Press the green illuminated hydraulic start button. Now press the black blade start push button, which will cause the blade to start running and allow it to run for 30 to 60 seconds. Push in the red all stop button. Open the top band wheel cover and inspect the blade tracking. Continue this process until proper tracking is achieved. Clamp material to be cut in the vise jaws. Slide the vise jaws towards the material and clamp securely by tightening the clamp handle, or, if equipped with hydraulic vise, turning the vise switch to the clamp position. Blade speed is determined by the type of material, size of material, and type of blade being used. Refer to your blade supplier's guidelines for appropriate blade speeds. Set the blade speed to the appropriate speed by adjusting the speed shown on the digital display using the up and down arrows shown on the panel. For the S330/3 saws, you will need to install the belt onto the appropriate pulley to get as close as you can to your desired blade speed. Adjust the feed rate knob to around 1 to start your first cuts. This rate can be gradually increased as you become more familiar with cutting rates to achieve quicker cut times. Press the blade start button. The blade will begin to turn and the blade will start to descend. Cutting will continue until the cut finish limit switch is tripped or the yellow frame up button is pressed.